Most people chase empty metrics of success, like money or fame, and wonder why those achievements leave them feeling empty. What if there's a better way to measure your life, a way that focuses on values that truly matter? Mastering the ordinary. Esteemed guests, fellow travelers on this journey we call life, I stand before you today to challenge a notion that has permeated our culture, a notion that whispers in our ears, urging us to strive for exceptionalism, to chase an elusive and often illusory ideal of greatness. This relentless pursuit of being special has burdened us with unrealistic expectations, breeding anxiety, insecurity, and a sense of inadequacy that pervades our modern existence. I propose a radical departure from this exhausting paradigm. Let us together explore the liberating power of not giving a fuck. This is not a call for apathy or indifference. Rather, it's an invitation to consciously choose what truly matters in our lives and to release the suffocating grip of societal pressures that demand we be anything other than our authentic selves. The illusion of exceptionalism, a recipe for misery. The digital age has ushered in an era of unprecedented connectivity, granting us access to a deluge of information that showcases the extremes of human experience. We are bombarded with images of extraordinary achievements, breathtaking beauty, and unimaginable wealth, creating a distorted perception of reality where exceptionalism seems like the norm. This constant exposure to the outliers of the bell curve fuels a sense of inadequacy, leaving us feeling like failures for simply being average. This tyranny of exceptionalism has permeated our educational systems, our workplaces, and even our personal relationships. We are told from a young age that we are all destined for greatness, that we must stand out from the crowd, that mediocrity is unacceptable. This message, while well-intentioned, sets us up for a lifetime of striving and dissatisfaction, as we chase an elusive goal that is, by definition, unattainable for the majority. The self-esteem movement, while aiming to foster a sense of worthiness, inadvertently contributed to this problem. By focusing on positive self-perception as the sole metric of self-worth, it neglected the importance of confronting and accepting our flaws and limitations. This gave rise to a generation of individuals like Jimmy, the embodiment of delusional self-confidence, who prioritize feeling good about themselves above all else, even at the expense of genuine accomplishment and personal growth. The result is a culture of entitlement, where individuals feel they deserve success and happiness without putting in the necessary effort or confronting the inevitable challenges that life throws their way. They either view themselves as superior beings deserving of special treatment or cast themselves as perpetual victims, demanding sympathy and accommodation for their perceived shortcomings. Both perspectives stem from the same self-centered core, a refusal to acknowledge personal responsibility and engage in the difficult work of self-improvement. The beauty of the ordinary, finding freedom in acceptance. The truth is, most of us are average. This is not a condemnation, it is a simple fact of life. We may have moments of brilliance, flashes of inspiration, or periods of extraordinary achievement, but the vast majority of our existence will be spent navigating the mundane realities of daily life. Embracing this truth is not a sign of defeat. It is the key to unlocking a deeper and more sustainable form of happiness. Consider the story of Charles Bukowski, a man whose life, on the surface, epitomizes the American dream. He battled rejection and obscurity for decades, clinging to his passion for writing despite constant setbacks. Finally, he achieved literary success, publishing numerous novels and poems that resonated with millions. Yet, Bukowski himself was acutely aware of his flaws. He didn't shy away from portraying himself as a flawed individual, a loser, who found solace in honesty and self-acceptance. His success stemmed not from a relentless pursuit of greatness, but from his willingness to embrace his imperfections and share them with the world. His tombstone, etched with the poignant epitaph, "Don't try," serves as a powerful reminder that true fulfillment lies not in chasing an idealized version of ourselves, but in accepting who we are, flaws and all. This acceptance does not imply complacency or resignation to a life of mediocrity. Rather, it liberates us from the exhausting pressure to be extraordinary, allowing us to focus our energy on what truly matters. It frees us to pursue our passions not for external validation, but for the inherent joy and fulfillment they bring. The subtle art of not giving a fuck, choosing your struggles wisely. The concept of not giving a fuck is not about apathy or indifference. It is about consciously choosing what we care about and investing our limited fucks wisely. It's about recognizing that we cannot give equal weight to every problem, every slight, every perceived injustice that crosses our path. This selective allocation of fucks requires us to develop a clear understanding of our values, the principles that guide our decisions and define our priorities. It involves identifying the struggles we are willing to endure, the challenges we embrace as integral parts of our journey. Happiness, as counterintuitive as it may seem, arises from solving problems. We are wired to seek satisfaction through overcoming obstacles, and a life devoid of challenges would ultimately lead to boredom and dissatisfaction. The key is to find problems that align with our values, problems that we find intrinsically rewarding to solve. Imagine an elderly lady at the grocery store berating the cashier for refusing to accept her 30-cent coupon. While her reaction may seem disproportionate to the situation, it reflects a deeper truth. This woman, perhaps lonely and disillusioned with a life that has not met her expectations, clings to her coupons as a source of meaning and purpose. Her outburst is a symptom of a life devoid of more fulfilling challenges, a life where giving a fuck about a 30-cent discount is the only thing that gives her a sense of control. Contrast this with someone who dedicates their life to a cause they believe in, someone who embraces the hardships and setbacks inherent in their pursuit of a greater good. They find fulfillment not in the absence of problems, but in the process of overcoming them, in the knowledge that their struggles contribute to something larger than themselves. The question we must ask ourselves is not, what do I want to enjoy? But rather, what pain am I willing to sustain? What are the struggles that align with our values, the challenges that bring meaning and purpose to our lives? By identifying these struggles and embracing them as integral parts of our journey, we unlock a deeper and more sustainable form of happiness. From trauma to triumph, reclaiming our power through acceptance. Life is not a fairy tale. We will experience pain, loss, and disappointment. We will face challenges that test our limits and force us to confront the depths of our resilience. It is in these moments of adversity, however, that we have the opportunity to forge our character and discover our true strength. My own adolescence was marked by a series of traumatic events that left me feeling lost, insecure, and deeply entitled. The pain of these experiences led me down a path of self-destructive behavior, where I sought validation and acceptance through fleeting relationships and superficial pursuits. It took years of introspection and self-work to recognize that my entitlement stemmed from a deep-seated belief that I was somehow broken, that I deserved special treatment to compensate for my perceived flaws. It was only through confronting my past, acknowledging my pain, and accepting that I was not unique in my suffering that I was able to break free from this cycle of entitlement. By recognizing that my problems were not insurmountable, that countless others had endured similar hardships and emerged stronger on the other side, I was able to reclaim my power and begin the process of healing. This journey of self-discovery taught me the importance of not trying to be special, of finding contentment in the ordinariness of life. It freed me to pursue my passions not for external validation, but for the inherent joy they brought. It allowed me to build deeper and more meaningful relationships, based on mutual respect and genuine connection, rather than the fleeting highs of superficial charm. The imperfect, a call to authenticity. This is not a call to lower our standards or resign ourselves to a life of mediocrity. It is a call to redefine our definition of success. It is a call to embrace the imperfect and find beauty in the ordinary. It is a call to release the burden of exceptionalism and celebrate the unique tapestry of our individual experiences. Let us find joy in the simple pleasures of life, the warmth of a genuine connection, the satisfaction of a job well done, the laughter shared with loved ones, the quiet moments of solitude that allow us to connect with our inner selves. Let us acknowledge our flaws and imperfections not as sources of shame, but as opportunities for growth. Let us approach our challenges with a spirit of curiosity and a willingness to learn from our mistakes. Let us cultivate a sense of humility that allows us to connect with others on a deeper level, recognizing that we are all fellow travelers on this journey, each navigating our own unique set of joys and sorrows. By releasing the pressure to be extraordinary, by embracing the ordinariness of our existence, we unlock a deeper and more sustainable form of happiness. We free ourselves to live authentically, to pursue our passions with genuine enthusiasm, and to connect with others on a level of true vulnerability and shared humanity. In the words of the wise and insightful, albeit unconventional, Charles Bukowski, don't try. Embrace the imperfect, accept the ordinary, and in doing so, discover the extraordinary beauty of a life lived authentically, a life where giving a fuck about what truly matters is the only measure of success that truly counts. Choosing your problems. We often think about self-improvement as a way to make ourselves feel better. We want to be happier, more successful, and more fulfilled. But what if the key to a better life lies not in feeling better, but in choosing better problems? What do we mean by choosing better problems? It means identifying and prioritizing the values that will lead to the problems we want to have. The problems that challenge us, make us grow, and ultimately make our lives more meaningful. This idea might seem counterintuitive. After all, who wants more problems? But the truth is, problems are an inevitable part of life. We can't avoid them. We can only choose which problems we want to deal with. Suffering for a cause. The story of Hiroo Onoda, the Japanese soldier who spent nearly 30 years hiding in the jungle after World War II, illustrates the importance of choosing our problems wisely. Onoda's value of loyalty to the Japanese Empire kept him going for decades, but it also caused him immense suffering. He lived off insects and rodents, slept in the dirt, and even murdered civilians. When Onoda finally returned to Japan in 1974, he was horrified by what he found. The country he had fought for no longer existed, and his suffering felt meaningless. Onoda's story teaches us that while suffering is inevitable, the meaning we give to that suffering is not. When we choose problems that align with our values, we can endure even the most difficult challenges. But when our problems are based on faulty values, our suffering becomes pointless and destructive. The value of choosing our metrics. The story of Dave Mustaine, the guitarist who was kicked out of Metallica, highlights the importance of choosing our metrics carefully. Mustaine used Metallica's success as the metric by which to measure his own career. Despite achieving incredible success with his new band Megadeth, Mustaine still felt like a failure because he hadn't surpassed Metallica's popularity. Mustaine's experience shows us that we can achieve great things and still feel miserable if we're measuring ourselves against the wrong standards. In contrast, Pete Best, the drummer who was fired from the Beatles, ultimately felt happier than he would have been with the band. Best's values changed, and he came to prioritize his family and a simple life over fame and fortune. Shitty values lead to shitty problems. These stories suggest that some values and metrics are better than others. Some lead to good problems, those that are easily and regularly solved. Others lead to bad problems, those that are not easily and regularly solved. Here are some examples of shitty values. Pleasure. Pleasure is great, but it's a fleeting and superficial form of satisfaction. When we prioritize pleasure above all else, we end up chasing highs and ignoring the deeper needs that lead to true happiness. Material success. Research shows that beyond meeting our basic needs, material wealth has little correlation with happiness. When we focus too much on acquiring things, we risk sacrificing more important values like honesty, compassion, and integrity. Always being right. The truth is, we're all wrong about a lot of things. When we become obsessed with being right, we close ourselves off to new information, prevent ourselves from learning from our mistakes, and hinder our personal growth. Staying positive. While it's important to have a positive outlook on life, denying negative emotions is unhealthy. Negative emotions are a natural part of the human experience, and they can provide valuable feedback that helps us learn and grow. Good values, good problems. Good values are reality-based, socially constructive, and immediate and controllable. They are things we can influence directly and that benefit both ourselves and the world around us. Examples of good values include honesty, innovation, vulnerability, standing up for oneself and others, self-respect, curiosity, charity, humility, creativity. When we prioritize good values, we attract good problems. Problems that challenge us to become better versions of ourselves. Problems that contribute to a more just and fulfilling life. The responsibility fault fallacy. One of the biggest obstacles to choosing better problems is the responsibility fault fallacy. We often believe that to be responsible for our problems is to also be at fault for them. This is simply not true. We may not be at fault for the difficult circumstances we face, but we are always responsible for how we choose to respond to those circumstances. This is where our power lies. Victimhood chic. In today's culture of outrage, it's easy to fall into the trap of victimhood chic. We feel entitled to be offended by everything, and we're quick to blame others for our problems. This constant focus on victimhood prevents us from taking responsibility for our own lives and finding solutions to our problems. The more we engage in the blame game, the more we distract ourselves from the real issues facing society. We become addicted to the feeling of moral righteousness, and we lose sight of the importance of empathy, understanding, and constructive dialogue. Embracing uncertainty. One of the most powerful ways to choose better problems is to embrace uncertainty. When we let go of the need to be certain about everything, we open ourselves up to new possibilities, new experiences, and new ways of seeing the world. Uncertainty is the root of all progress and growth. It allows us to question our assumptions, challenge our beliefs, and learn from our mistakes. Manson's law of avoidance. We tend to avoid things that threaten our identity. This includes both positive and negative experiences. We fear success just as much as we fear failure because both have the potential to change who we believe ourselves to be. To overcome this avoidance, we need to be willing to let go of the rigid identities we've created for ourselves. We need to embrace the uncertainty of not knowing who we are and be open to discovering ourselves through experience. Killing the ego. Buddhism teaches that the idea of a fixed self is an illusion. When we let go of the need to define ourselves, we become free to act, fail, and grow. The more we identify with our problems, the more those problems define us. By releasing our attachment to specific outcomes, we reduce the fear and anxiety that prevent us from pursuing our goals. How to be less certain of yourself. Developing the ability to question ourselves and our beliefs can be challenging, but it's essential for personal growth. Here are 3 questions that can help. What if I'm wrong? This question helps us to challenge our assumptions and consider alternative perspectives. What would it mean if I were wrong? This question encourages us to examine the potential consequences of our beliefs and consider the possibility of holding a different value. Would being wrong create a better or a worse problem than my current problem? This question helps us to prioritize our values and choose the problems that will lead to the most positive outcomes. Remember, personal growth is an iterative process. We will never be perfectly right about everything. But by constantly questioning ourselves, challenging our beliefs, and embracing uncertainty, we can become a little less wrong each day. In closing, choosing better problems is not about seeking out suffering or hardship. It's about consciously choosing the values that will guide our lives and lead us to the problems we want to solve. It's about embracing the uncertainty of life and being open to the possibility of being wrong. Ultimately, it's about taking responsibility for our own experiences and creating a life that is both meaningful and fulfilling. Overcoming entitlement and finding meaning. Life is a journey fraught with challenges and opportunities. It's a constant dance between success and failure, joy and pain. We are constantly bombarded with messages telling us what we should value, how we should live, and who we should be. In this maelstrom of external pressures, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters. We fall into the trap of entitlement, believing we deserve certain things without putting in the effort, leading to a life devoid of meaning and purpose. This speech aims to guide you through the process of rejecting entitlement, embracing failure, and finding true freedom through commitment and the acceptance of our mortality. The peril of entitlement. Entitlement is a dangerous and seductive beast. It whispers in our ears, convincing us that we are special, that we deserve happiness and success without the hard work and sacrifice. This mentality is fostered by our consumer culture, which constantly tells us that more is always better. More money, more possessions, more experiences, more validation. We become obsessed with chasing superficial highs, neglecting the deeper, more meaningful aspects of life. This entitlement manifests itself in our relationships, where we either expect others to solve our problems or take responsibility for their problems. We avoid setting healthy boundaries, leading to toxic dynamics where one person becomes a victim and the other a savior, both seeking validation through their dysfunctional roles. Embracing failure as a stepping stone. The path to a meaningful life is paved with failures. Yet, we are taught to fear failure, to avoid it at all costs. This fear stems from the societal pressure to constantly succeed, fueled by media portrayals of effortless achievement that omit the countless hours of hard work and setbacks behind every success story. However, true success can only be achieved in areas where we are willing to fail. Every failure is a learning opportunity, a chance to refine our skills, adjust our approach, and ultimately grow. Consider the example of a child learning to walk. They stumble and fall countless times, but they never give up. They don't conclude that walking isn't for them. Instead, they keep trying, learning from each misstep until they finally master the skill. Instead of fearing failure, we should embrace it as an integral part of the process. By shifting our focus from avoiding failure to simply taking action, we can break free from the shackles of procrastination and unlock our true potential. This do-something principle allows us to harness the momentum of action to inspire motivation and propel ourselves forward. The power of saying no. In a culture that champions positivity and acceptance, we are often encouraged to say yes to everything. However, to truly stand for something, we must also learn to say no. Rejection, both giving and receiving it, is essential for defining our values and shaping our identity. By rejecting what does not align with our core beliefs, we create space for what truly matters. Consider the experience of the author in Russia, a culture known for its blunt honesty. Initially uncomfortable with the directness, the author eventually came to appreciate it as a form of unadulterated expression, a refreshing contrast to the often superficial niceties of Western culture. Honesty, even when it's uncomfortable, is crucial for building trust and fostering genuine connections in our relationships. By embracing rejection, we create space for authentic communication and deeper intimacy. Finding freedom through commitment. The pursuit of limitless freedom can be paradoxically limiting. When faced with an overwhelming array of choices, we often experience the paradox of choice, leading to anxiety and dissatisfaction. We become afraid of commitment, constantly chasing the next best thing, never fully investing in anything. However, true freedom lies in commitment. By choosing to focus our energy and attention on a select few things that truly matter to us, we liberate ourselves from the distractions of the unimportant and frivolous. Commitment doesn't limit our options. It empowers us to dive deep into our chosen pursuits, unlocking a wealth of opportunities and experiences that would otherwise remain inaccessible. The author's decision to commit to writing full-time, to a single partner, and to nurturing a small circle of genuine friendships led to a sense of freedom and fulfillment that eluded him during his years of globe-trotting and superficial connections. Death as a guiding light. Perhaps the most profound and challenging aspect of the human experience is our awareness of our own mortality. This realization can be terrifying, leading us to avoid thinking about it, denying its inevitability. However, death is not something to be feared. It is the ultimate perspective shifter, the lens through which we can truly appreciate the value and meaning of life. As Ernest Becker argues in The Denial of Death, our awareness of our mortality drives us to create immortality projects, endeavors through which we seek to leave a lasting impact on the world. These projects, which often manifest as our values and life goals, give us a sense of purpose and meaning, helping us transcend the fear of our own finitude. However, when we become fixated on achieving immortality through external achievements, we risk losing sight of what truly matters. True happiness, according to Becker, lies in embracing the impermanence of our existence and choosing values that contribute to something greater than ourselves. The author's experience of confronting his own mortality by sitting on the edge of a cliff in South Africa highlights the transformative power of accepting our finitude. This encounter with death led to a deeper appreciation for life and a newfound clarity about what truly matters: living a meaningful life. By embracing failure, rejecting entitlement, and accepting our mortality, we can unlock a life filled with purpose and meaning. Here are some key takeaways to guide you on this journey. Reject the allure of entitlement. Recognize that you are not entitled to anything you haven't earned. Embrace hard work and sacrifice as essential ingredients for achieving your goals. Embrace failure as a stepping stone. Don't let the fear of failure paralyze you. View every setback as a learning opportunity, a chance to refine your skills and grow. Say no to define your values. Don't be afraid to reject what doesn't align with your core beliefs. Create space for what truly matters by saying no to the unimportant and frivolous. Find freedom through commitment. Commit to a few key areas of your life that bring you joy and fulfillment. Dive deep into these pursuits and reap the rewards of depth of experience. Accept your mortality as a guiding light. Don't shy away from the reality of your own death. Embrace it as a perspective shifter, a reminder to live a life filled with purpose and meaning. By embodying these principles, we can transcend the limitations of entitlement and create a life that is both fulfilling and impactful. As we navigate the inevitable ups and downs of life, let us remember that true success lies not in accumulating external achievements, but in cultivating a sense of purpose, connection, and contribution to something greater than ourselves.